Hello, I'm Daniela, and welcome to part 3 in the 5-part series for the slow stitching workshop of creating an autumn pumpkin. In the first 2 videos, we selected our colors, made a little fabric collage, which is totally optional. We stitched our outline, and we stitched in the 2 darkest colors. Or as I like to say, we painted with threads to create different shading in our pumpkin. In today's video, we're going to use the 2 lightest colors, and we're going to fill it in so our pumpkin really comes to life. Now, if you've made it this far, today it will really show you exactly how to make that pumpkin pop and how to do a little shading with your different colors. So let's get started right away. So I stitched around all the segments with our 2 darkest colors. With the darkest color, I used 6 strands. I used 4 strands with the next color, and here I'm using 4 strands again. And this time I'm using my next lightest color. And this is one of my favorite colors. I'm going to continue with these shapes here. And again, I'm just going to take it a little bit lower than where I left off with the previous color. And I'm going to come down around this segment. And I'm going to start to fill in a few more lines just to make it a little thicker. And this is a variation on the colors that I've already used. So now I'm starting to see a little more dimension. It's starting to be like a painting where I'm taking and making a gradient of colors through my stitches. So I'll go around here and I'll show you on this largest segment. Again, keeping that shape and maintaining that. With all the stitches, you can see the background fabric, you can see a lot of texture. And it's very interesting to have all that added dimension to our piece. Now I want to come up on this side and go around the outer edge as well, continuing all the way around. So I have 2 more lighter colors. I can always add more colors if I want, or even use white as a highlight. I'm just going to continue with those 2 colors, and those are going to be my entire gradient for each of those sections. So I've created an entire loop. And now I'm going to create one more loop with this color. Another loop of stitches. Because I don't want it to be completely even, I'm really emphasizing that when I'm done, I'll have most of the side over here all done, and just a little portion unstitched of my pumpkin segment over here, which is where we'll put the lightest color. So I'll just continue around. I'm keeping my stitches going in a certain direction, and that creates a little bit of movement and a little balance. But if you wanted to, you could use seed stitches that just go in every direction. And your blend would be just the colors of the stitches that you're using. That's a nice effect as well. So from here, I can decide if I want my highlight to be offset or if I want to do another round and have just a small highlight. And I like the way this looks, and I think it's going to look great with a lot of the highlight. So I'm going to stop there for that segment with this color. So again, I'll just keep my thread in the corner here, and I'll continue that with all the segments. Right now, I want to take my lightest color thread. I divided my 6 strands of floss in half, and so I threaded my needle with only 3 strands of floss, which means that I'll have a lighter thread, a lighter stitch, and so I think I'll use just a few more stitches. And I can just come all the way around. Now the beauty of changing the size stitches as well as the color is it gives another shape, another depth to your piece. And this is how you finish off each section of the pumpkin. It doesn't matter which color you use, if you're using oranges or yellows or even whites and grays. You want to do the same thing where your highlight is your lightest color of thread that you're using. Now I'm choosing to use it in also the smallest number of strands of floss. You could also try the inverse and make the thickest strands and use your outer darker colors with thinner strands. It's up to you. You'll get a different effect by doing that and a different result. Now I'm going to continue stitching all the way around, making as many of these stitched loops as I need to fill in this segment. And this is what I'll do with all of them. I'll treat each segment individually, so some of the segments, depending on their placement and width, won't have a lot of the highlight, and others will have a lot of the highlight. The rule of thumb is that the segments closest to you will have the most highlight. So therefore, this main segment will have most of the lightest stitches, but there'll be some here that has a lot of lightness, and then just a little bit up top peeking through. So I'll just finish stitching my last few stitches. So now I'm going to go and fill in the remaining segments using my two colors of thread, my lightest teal and my second to lightest teal, and that will start to give our piece dimension. So that's your homework for the next video. I'll complete the segments, and then we'll start by working on our stem and adding a little bit of dimension to that, and then we can start to add our foliage. So that's how I shade the main segment of my pumpkin, and I'll go and continue that around all the different segments. You'll notice your pumpkin is really coming to life, and it's really mostly done. From this point on, it's easy sailing, and we'll work on the stem and add foliage in the next few videos. If you've enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up and be sure to subscribe. Please be sure to click on that bell to get notified of future classes, particularly in this series, so you can stay afloat with me. Thanks for joining me today.